Welcome back to another Synergy Bonus coming at you for yet another of our
War stories.
Tabletop war stories. A slightly shorter segment where we sit around and talk about our adventures in tabletop gaming. And
you drink because you like pumpkin spice, Blue Moon, and Leinenkugel's pumpkin spice.
Which we forgot to do last time. What is everybody drinking?
Bison Berry Kolsch by Flying Bison. It is a blueberry and blackberry Kolsch. And as I said, it tastes... before we started recording, it tastes kind of like chewing tobacco smells. I don't know, so...
I'm not being very adventurous this time around. This is a Black Magic Stout from Empire Brewing Company. It's they call it a dry stout, but they've infused it with nitro. So it goes down pretty smooth. Beyond that, it's a stout. It's pretty generic aside from the nitro.
You really can't go wrong with a stout for the most part.
You can.
I don't think we.
If someone tries to make an imperial stout, depending on how much hops they put into it.
What was it? The Kalamazoo. It was a Russian stout that was like dry hopped, like a 6-minute IPA. I think that's what it was, but it was rough.
Internet IPAs need to just go away.
I need to go and make my one mocha stout again.
Yes,
you do.
It was supposed to be a chocolate stout, but I accidentally caramelized the wort, and as a result, it tasted like a mocha coffee.
It was
and there's
candy.
nothing wrong with that.
I also need to make braggot again, but no one gets that when I make braggot. Fuck you, I make it, I pay for it, I drink it.
You also get 50 bottles out of it. And part of brewing the beer is to share the beer.
Anyhow, beer notwithstanding.
Honey is expensive.
It is expensive.
It is really expensive right now.
But honey beer aside,
and as Doug pointed out, I have Leinenkugel's Harvest Patch Shandy because
you are a basic white chick.
Oh shit.
However,
put on your Uggs and deal with it.
Real quick, actually. We were at one of our local bars. The bartender, was it you or did Todd do it?
Todd, I think we might have asked Todd about it, and because we had done it before Angry Orchard put out their cocktail mix. Todd, the bartender at the bar we go to, was experimenting with making cocktails based off Angry Orchard. And we called it the Loaded Angry, where it was Angry Orchard with shot of Fireball. Angry Orchard has now called it the Angry Balls.
Yeah. Anyways, they did it with the pumpkin spice stuff, and it's very much like a pumpkin pie. It's quite delicious if you're into that sort of thing.
It's also incredibly alcoholic because of that shot.
Yes, it is. Anyways, war stories.
In the past, we've talked about the origins of Team Synergy and the ongoing adventures of Preston Argyle, Shadowrunner.
You gotta say the full title.
It's like a pimp named Slickback or a Tribe Called Quest.
You say the whole thing. He went there. Yeah. He did it. We're moving on now.
I feel it was funnier before you explained it. Anyway. Well, this time around, we're going to be briefly touching on what we lovingly refer to as the Lacrosse Incident.
Lacrosse Incident to the highway.
You're
incident.
Monsters. We really are. Greg, as you were game mastering this, would you like to lead us in?
This is still Shadowrun. I think you mentioned that.
This is actually the follow-up to the previous episode of here's the mission you guys were actually being recruited for after you decided to go take drugs, go fight a bear, kidnap and possibly sexually assault a cop.
There was no we. I was passed out with a hangover this whole time. It was dwarf.
Oh, I'm talking about the entire group. They're all party to this.
Yes.
Whether or not they were there.
Guilty by association.
We never actually did get to fight the bear.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yet.
Oh, trust me. Do you want to fight a bear? I'll throw a piasma at you. Awakened bears.
Don't poke the dungeon master.
I want to poke the bear.
Okay, don't
you
yourself
and that bear
add
doing the
piasma.
privacy of your den is none of our business.
Okay, you want to go and poke a bear? I know of a bar for you, and as soon as you walk in, it'll be dun 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 dun
Twice this week that has come up.
You know that comes up every time I play Shadowrun. We walk into a bar.
Do 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 do.
Doesn't matter what bar it is. It could be the Lucky
It's
Luke,
always the blue
Or
oyster.
the rich stag.
the rich stag human supremacist bar. Damn it!
We're getting into that, so let's...
The Lucky Luke fist.
Okay, so they were hired on to kidnap a Yakuza, I forget the term for an actual member of the Yakuza is, but a Yakuza associate's daughter in a way to keep him in line to remind him that he was not nearly as good as he thought he was. So,
Hired by his higher-ups, mind you.
yes. The background of it, yes, they were hired to kidnap her and hand her over to Yakuza for control. They were going to send her to a Bunraku parlor to become a meat puppet. And if you don't know what Bunraku parlors are, you have more humanity left in you than me.
Of course, in character, we didn't know that at this point in time. It was just a snatch and grab.
Yes. But the party was then hired to go and kidnap her. She was at a boarding school for gifted students. And
Upstate New York, I'm sure.
no, in Seattle, Washington.
And we find out she is a technomancer.
There's a couple more steps involved in that.
No.
To begin with, our hacker decides to...
Hack into her my feed, which is totally not Facebook.
absolutely not. And figure out what her schedule is and what she's into and so on.
Constantly finding messages going to other students and also to instructors at her school and instructors at the local college that are blackmailing them with altered pictures.
And also a strange obsession with synth jazz.
What was it? Four
Beards at the crossroads. Trav hates synth jazz, and I have to troll my players. So I find ways to go and put really bad music.
This is why we karate fight bears, mind you.
I hurt myself in the end.
So, after some investigation, yes, we find out gifted means she's a technomancer.
She's at the school. She's going to this party. Greg has planned for 2 contingencies.
First of all, I planned on them going and infiltrating into the boarding school and kidnapping her from there. Also, she was actually leaving the school to go to a frat party at Seattle State University, where I figured go to the party and kidnap her there because it's going to be easier getting into a frat house than it is into a private boarding school.
Crash a frat party, sneak into a private boarding school. Reasonable.
All girls boarding school, too.
I'm sure Preston could have pulled it off somehow.
Wolfgang, not so much.
No.
So,
Naturally, well, Wolfgang wasn't with us yet.
That's right. Wolfgang actually didn't show up, and this comes up later on in the session. Wolfgang wasn't there for the first part of the session, so Wolfgang got hired on with another team to work magical security.
This becomes important later.
Yes.
So we, being the oh-so-cooperative players that we are, opt to kidnap the girl on the freeway as she's driving from point A to point B, because that'll be so much easier.
Oddly enough, it was, because the GM goes, you took the path of most heavy resistance, and I figured you were smarter than this. Okay.
what entailed was probably the single-handedly most cinematic grab.
Taking the battle van, moving in front of the car that she was in with her friends, opening the back doors, Preston jumping out of the battle van onto the hood of their car, slamming a monofilament katana into their engine block, which should have actually broken his sword in hindsight.
In hindsight, but...
Oh no, monofilament.
Cool.
Oh, with his strength monofilament. He did need to take it in for alignment.
Yeah.
And then grabbing the girl out of the car, tossing her into the back of the battle van, and driving away.
This whole time, monologuing about synergy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
This time to the rest of the party.
There's some shit there where, like, she tries to pull out her cell phone and do some technomancery stuff. And
Preston cuts it in half.
I think TC snipes it out of her hand, and as it's flying through the air, Preston just shoots right in half. All this on cars that are still kind of, sparking along the highway because the engine was suddenly was killing.
But also, you guys got him at 5 o'clock when it was gridlock.
Yeah.
But we made it out of there actually quite
well.
It just took them another 30 minutes to get out of gridlock.
Yeah.
And when we got to the safe house, we found out she was actually kind of cooperative with us.
Like, she honestly didn't care about the fact that her father was, in trouble or anything like that. She was she actually had her own agenda for why she was going to the university. The frat house she was going to was actually the Seattle State. I forget the team name I came up with. their lacrosse team. And one of her friends had been raped by the head of the lacrosse team, and she wanted to ruin his life for it.
Fortunately, she just met us.
So we're like, yes, we'll help you out.
In exchange for you staying here, not leaving, not calling the cops or anything like that, we'll just, let you go after the so many days we're supposed to hold you. We'll go and deal with this problem for you.
As I'm now thinking back to it, it's ridiculous. We looked up the rules to lacrosse. We went out and bought lacrosse equipment and everything. We made an arrangement to go
You
against
guys
this team.
created a My Feed page for a rival school lacrosse team to challenge them to a lacrosse fight at 10 o'clock at night in a park.
And then our face, who has crazy charisma, convinces him that this is a legitimate, league game.
So, Chad...
It was a legitimate game, but it wasn't a league
Okay.
game. But it was like an actual challenge, just as, the testosterone, I'm a jock shit.
So this rapist guy
Apparently we read too much manga.
named Chad shows up in a wedge vehicle.
Oh god, it was Hyundai Xingding.
So he
Huixi.
comes out, and he's a gnome, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And he's got this big, meaty troll character, this sexy elf character, and we all just kind of get into positions. And we're all ready to go, and as soon as it's...
Not real lacrosse positions, just position.
And
Like, they're all, their team is all standing there, ready to go.
we do the same thing, and then as soon as it's time to go, whoom,
They just started butchering people.
Whips out his lacrosse stick like it's his katana across the gnome's face.
Oh, let's see. TC
The-
broke
the-
his lacrosse stick on
on
the
the
theme.
elf chick. I broke her hip, and she ended up bleeding out.
No, you broke it, and then you hit her again with the jagged end of it, and you cut her femoral artery.
Meanwhile, Wolfgang and I, the not coked up members of this association, are standing in the backfield going,
But
No, Wolfgang still wasn't there.
oh yeah, Wolfgang
No,
wasn't there.
someone lit someone on fire.
Yeah,
Which one of you was it? It was either you
it
or...
was Jack.
Okay,
So,
sure.
He lit the troll on fire because troll.
Troll, fire. I mean,
so Chad went down, this elf chick went down.
Bled out and died.
Like,
the way
all
she
these
was
team
used to.
members are dying. One of them's on fire. It's like, we're gonna need him. So let's just...
So, to go and prove they did the job, Preston goes back to the battle van, gets his katana, and cuts off a college student's head.
decapitates the gnome to take it back as proof of a job done, because
This
that's
is
what you do, I guess.
9, 10 o'clock at night in a public park. There's still people out walking their dogs.
And then
Not for long.
we take Chad's vehicle.
They stole his
With
car,
us.
took it to a chop shop,
Chop
sold
shop that we
it.
previously discovered.
And I ended up upgrading the battle van at the same time.
That's how we got the harpoon.
Yes, which could apparently be used to harpoon bombs or something. I don't remember that.
It was just part of the notes. I'm reminded that I'm not nearly as horrible of a person as I think I am.
No, not compared to the rest of us, apparently.
So
And
They
I-
go back, they go and get ready, they deliver the head, they get ready to drop
our little prisoner who is a little startled, but not terribly surprised.
She's
It's-
happy, more or less.
Yeah, like,
But,
and we gain her as a contact.
yes, they go to, it turns out we have to drop her off.
yeah, it's time
They go to do the drop
time
off.
to do the exchange. you
There's
know.
another team there where Wolfgang is there because Wolfgang wasn't present for the meet.
Wolfgang's player showed up late, basically.
Didn't show up that week.
Didn't show up that week
Because this is a 2-part week.
Yeah.
Next week they show up. They got hired by another team to work as muscle. The other team is who's
Raku Parlor.
Yep, they're going to take I forget what her name is, Misato Kuchikawa.
Something like that. Yeah.
I just refer to her as the Asian kid
Yep.
now.
But
And
they
suddenly, out of nowhere, probably because Preston has made it his life's goal to get into this girl's pants, we develop a conscience. No problem massacring, college students who happen to hang out with a guy who's a date rapist. But skin peddlers, Bunraku parlor guys.
this is after the previous Bunraku mission.
This is I wasn't there for that one.
Yeah.
That's where we draw the line.
Well, no, actually, Bunraku parlors, for those who don't know, they basically take a human being, they install cyberware into the control of their body, put a chipset into their head, so you can upload a personality chip into the person. So, hey, I want Audrey Hepburn. They'll go and dye the person's hair, dress them up like Audrey Hepburn, load an Audrey Hepburn personality chip, and you are trapped in your body, watching and feeling everything as someone has their way with you. It was to send a message to the Yakuza guy. I know it's also that level of, yeah, Shadowrun's actually pretty fucked up. But there's a reason you guys draw the line there, and I just kind of poke the line.
This is where we suddenly grow a conscience and decide that we're going to butcher some flesh peddlers.
And it's like, hey, there's that line.
Yep.
And
Wolfgang realizes, hey, I know those guys!
I'm
You're all gonna die now!
Yeah.
And then the abomination breaks out of the semi. Which is something in regards to something that you guys never have looked into. And it's me going like, the plot's over here. The plot's over here. The plot's over here.
there's interesting stuff. Pip's over here.
Let's go and get Pip laid.
We already killed the monster. We don't care. So and that was the Lacrosse Incident. At some point in time later, we'll explain who exactly Pip is. And
Pip is our street urchin.
Pip is an NPC from the module I started them out on, and they kind of adopted him, which also translates into, hey, you want them to do shit? Do bad shit to Pip.
Pip has a bad life because he's associated with us.
So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about
The hooker you guys hired for him, .od.
Yeah. But Pip
hired a hooker for an 8-year-old orc.
Because we're like, Pip is a good person and he needs to get laid.
He's 8 years old.
That. My response is usually, Pip is a minor. Knock it off.
No, Preston and TC were like, no, Pip is gonna be a man and he needs to be.
You bought him an automatic weapon.
Exactly.
He's 8 years old.
And apparently a child soldier.
Given in orc years, that basically makes him 16.
Pip's main job for us is to basically get information, get us guns, get us cocaine.
Pip basically counts as a level 1 contact with access to the Orc Underground, and there is a black market there, so hey, he can actually get things. He just adds +1 to whatever dice roll you're rolling.
So our response is, we can get Pip laid.
He's also in good with Johnny
Farini. And we can just basically just teach Pip the ways of the world.
Hello, sir. Oh, I haven't seen you in such a long time, sirs.
Let's get this
I've been shooting devil rats again, sirs.
Let's get this boy Centauri sour.
He's 8.
And yes, that's exactly how it goes.
Trav is the voice of reason in the team, but he's also an alcoholic in character,
yes,
so no one listens to him.
So we're gonna cut this here. We have more war stories for Shadowrun involving team synergy
And many
TC getting hit by 3 vehicles in the
that
course
is
of
the next
one day.
time, and we'll get into that. So with that, have a good evening.
Good night and good gaming.
I'm sorry.